Recording is on.
A very good evening to all of you present here today. Thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule and being here with us for this webinar. A huge thank you to Parul ma'am for sparing time and being here again. So Parul ma'am, for those of you who do not know, is a data evangelist at H2O.ai. She is a very active, very active Kaggler, and she's also from a fellow NIT Hamilpur, if I'm not wrong. And she has over 32,000 or 30,000 odd followers on LinkedIn, and she has a huge presence on social media where she talks a lot about data science and machine learning and artificial in general. So once again, thank you, ma'am, and I think we can hand over the floor to you.
Thank you so much, Harshit, for introducing me. My webcam has gone into some technical glitch, so I won't be able to interact with you guys through video, but audio is good. So I'll just share my screen, and if you guys are able to see it, just give me a quick nod.
We can see it, Parul.
Okay. So yeah, so hello everybody. Like Harshit mentioned, my name is Parul, and today the session that I'm going to take on is getting started with Kaggle. Before we begin the session, just a quick intro about myself. It's just nothing different from what Harshit mentioned. So I'm currently working as a data science evangelist at H2O.ai. It's a startup, AI-based startup, which is based in out of Mountain View, California. And we people work remotely from India. I am academically an electrical engineer from NIT Hamilpur. And apart from that, I also run a chapter called Women in Machine Learning and Data Science. Now, Women in Machine Learning and Data Science is a global organization, and I run the Hyderabad chapter of it. All of you are more than welcome to join it and also encourage your fellow. So the chapter is open for all the genders, but our presenters or the people who present during our meetups are preferably female. So I would request you people to just encourage your fellow students or your friends or your family members to, come up and approach us, and we would love to host them. So I'm also a Kaggle Grand Master in the notebooks category, and I'm also a proud mom. So before getting to the Kaggle part, I'll just like to introduce about Women MLDS because again, all these meetups that happen and all the groups that conduct it, I think they should be aware of the similar organizations that are running. You guys are, so Harshit is part of the NIT Warangal data science group, and it's a great initiative, to actually bring people and conduct such meetups and get speakers. I know it's pretty hard. So as Women MLDS group, our mission is to support and promote women and gender minorities who are practicing, studying, or are interested in the field of machine learning and data science. And we have this group. It's a very active group. We have members from all over the world, men, women, and even underrepresented minorities. And we normally organize meetup every month. And we are going to organize in July also. So everything is virtual now. So everybody is more than welcome to join and listen. In the past, we've had some great and extremely talented females on our meetup. So it's from Rachel, who is from Raza, Caroline, and most recently we had Tanya. So we bring mix of data science professionals from the industry so that people now, because it's all virtual and you cannot meet them in person, can actually take use of the virtual meetups. So we also have opened a platform for people or females so who are looking to speak and who also wants to enhance their public speaking skills. So you could see there is here the link to our CFPs. So if anybody is interested in your group, in your circle, you can just forward this link to them. They could apply for it, and we'll give that finishes the WMLDS. Let's now get to the topic of today's presentation, that is getting started with Kaggle. So for the ones who are not aware of Kaggle, Kaggle is a competition platform. And so this started as a startup, and it was then later acquired by Google in 2017. So it used to host machine learning competitions earlier, and now it has diversified into much more than that. You have courses there, you have competition platforms there, you have means to exchange your ideas through notebooks, similar to like Jupyter notebooks. And you could even post data sets, you can access data sets. So it's become a complete data science platform. So that is Kaggle. And why it is so famous among people is because there's a element of gamification there, because you are awarded points, you are awarded medals, you are awarded and you awarded rankings, and so you get to see where you stand as compared to your fellow competitors. So currently they're nearing about 5 million people who are actually registered on Kaggle. So why actually you need to use Kaggle? So that's the question. Okay, you know Kaggle, everybody is doing Kaggle. A lot of people, you know, they post on LinkedIn, so they're winning medals there, they're winning silver, gold. But then why do you need Kaggle? Why do you need such a platform? So a lot of data aspirants, you know, they go through some MOOCs, they read some blogs and notes and books, and they do it again and again. But then what happens when you finish all of them? You know, you read so many books and you listen to people talking about their data science experience, especially LinkedIn. I think you every day you hear one or two people, they talk about like how, you know, they are data scientists, you're the data scientist there, they're doing some cool projects. But if you are a student, especially, where do you go from there? How do you get to work on the projects? So you're not in any company, you're still in college. Who would give you a project? Who would take you as interns? So these are some of the questions which a lot of people, they come across. And I've also got all these questions from people by interacting on LinkedIn. So the next obvious answer is start participating in data science competitions. And data science competitions, what do you mean by data science competitions? Are they hackathons or what? So yes, Kaggle is one platform where you can participate in data science competitions. But what do you get after participating in such competitions? Of course, you get to learn. When you participate, you know how do you work on a problem? How do you work with the data? How do you work with the metrics? And how do you come to that final desired thing that is required from the competition? Having said that, learning is not the only thing that you can get from a competition. Of course, it's the most important one. What you also get is you get exposed to state-of-the-art approaches and data sets which are used by experienced data scientists. And this, I think you cannot get in any course, you cannot get in any book, because these state-of-art approaches are changing. They're like changing with every passing day. One very important thing that you can get from here is networking. And today, networking is by far the most important, you could say, a skill or a value that you can derive from such competitions. So a lot of times it has happened that there are people who work together on a team, end up working for the same company also. You can also showcase your talent. So for instance, you are in college and you're still in your undergraduation years, and you start participating in a competition or even on Kaggle, and you write some good code. And so you have a lot of people who can look at your code. And from there, you can get a voice, you can get a lot of visibility through such competitions, because there'll be about millions of people who could see your code, and which otherwise it's very difficult to get in front of people. And again, it's pretty fun. It's fun to participate and see, you know, how your rankings go up and down by changing some parameter or doing some tweaks in your model. And if you're even very good and lucky, you could even end up winning a prize. So the competitions, a lot of them, the competition hosts, when they host their competition in Kaggle or any other platform, there's also a prize attached to it. There's a very famous Netflix competition which happened in 2009, and at that time the prize for it was $1 million US. So you can see the level of prizes that are given in such competitions. So this should not be the only criteria, but again, additional, I think money isn't bad. So this is just what is the usefulness of data science competitions and how you can make use of it. Now let's talk about some of the platforms other than Kaggle. So Kaggle is not the only data science platform. It is very famous, but it is not the only one. There are other similar platforms which also host competitions. It might not have all the elements of Kaggle, but like for instance, you have driven data, which will typically hold competitions for social good. And if you are looking for data sets, which particularly pertain to things like, world education or data sets posted by WHO or maybe environment conservation, you could go to Driven Data and you'll find great data sets. And they also work with some developing countries also to host competitions which are particular to their problems. There's another platform that's called Coda Lab, and again, this also hosts great competitions. Like for instance, these are some old competitions actually, but because this is not the latest screen grab from there. But if you are looking for particularly research purpose, it hosts some great data sets, I mean, huge data sets. Analytics Vidya, I think this is an Indian company, and I think people are aware of it. So it also hosts hackathons from time to time. I think currently also it's holding out Janta hackathons continuously, like week after week. So this also gives you access to some great blogs and material content, and then you can use whatever you've learned in these competitions. So there are both, and I think the best part about this is you could, if you get good rankings here, you could even end up getting a job, because a lot of hackathons offer job, if you do well in Indian companies. Zindi is a data science platform which is based out of Africa, and it basically hosts competitions which are very specific to African ecosystem. Mostly, again, it also has competitions which pertain to data science for good, like flood predictions or crop detection from satellite imagery. Again, it has great data sets, and again, if you're looking for data sets on these things and you want to do some of your own projects, you can just go to this website, Zindi. So this was some of the platforms which also hosts competitions. But let's just get back to Kaggle. And let's say if you want to get started in Kaggle and you have absolutely no idea, how would you begin? And what are the mistakes that you should not do on Kaggle in the beginning? Because a lot of people tend to participate in competitions, they don't do well, and they end up, leaving the platform. And I think they miss out on a lot of useful knowledge, information, and learning by doing this. There's one more aspect of Kaggle is when people see and they think that it's just impossible to sort of do well on Kaggle. It's not that. The only thing that you require is like perseverance, persistence, and passion. So these are the 3 Ps. This is my journey. So I joined Kaggle 5 years ago. And that time I joined Kaggle just to use the data sets, and I did not do anything else. I used to take the data sets and I would just download data sets on my local machine. I wouldn't even use the platform provided by Kaggle. And but last year I started taking it seriously. And so if you would see, I sort of started my journey at the end of September. So I seriously started writing, and it was blank. I did not do anything. And then what happens is when you start getting good feedback on your work from Kaggle, you tend to become more motivated. You start working, you start improving, you start learning. And from September to June, I think I became a grandmaster in the first week of June. So within the span of these many months, I got the grandmaster status. Now, getting a grandmaster status should not be your goal, because there are a lot of things. So maybe somebody doesn't have that time, somebody has other things to do. So that should not be, I think, because grandmasters are made every day. People become grandmasters, and it's good. It's a good feat. But if you're not a grandmaster, doesn't mean that you do not have that knowledge. Grandmaster is just another status. Good to have, but learning, improving your work from day to day is far more important. So if you would see here, I started my sort of journey here at the end of September. And what triggered that journey was, there was a competition that was hosted by Kaggle, and that is called the Kaggle Survey Challenge. Kaggle hosts this challenge every year. Has not every year, like it just started from 2017. So there was one in 17, which I did not enter into. 2018. I knew about that competition. I did not participate. But in 2019, I participated for the first time, and I just participated, and I was thinking, okay, let's just participate at least for the data. I'm not going to land anywhere because, I am just a newcomer on Kaggle. And but when I started working on my notebook, I really liked the data set, and I started, working. I worked very hard on it. I spun a story around, and I just took one part of it. I emphasized my work on women's representation in Kaggle, and that ended up winning a prize in Kaggle. And that was that moment, I think, where I just realized that Kaggle is for everybody. It's not something that if you are already you're there on Kaggle for 5 years, only you are going to do well. And this thing changed the whole perception about Kaggle. So Kaggle has everything, something for everybody. And no matter you're a newbie, no matter you are experienced, anybody can come on this platform, use the resources, learn, participate, and do everything. So thinking that, I'm not so sure, it's so confusing. I think that whether I'm the right fit for Kaggle, I think these are all nonsense things. Another important thing that I did on Kaggle was I also participated in a competition. So that was a datathon, and I participated with 3 of my colleagues at H2O. And it was during that time I realized the importance of teaming up for Kaggle. So teaming up is a very important factor, I think. And a lot of times, a lot of newcomers, they start participating all alone, and then they get dejected when they do not get some good results on that, especially in competitions. So if you are thinking, I think you should get together, form teams, participate together, work out solutions, and working in team really, really helps. You get to learn from each other. There could be some strong points that others have. There could be some strong things that you have. And it's always a mix, and the results are great. This is my current profile on Kaggle. So if you're going to see here, you have 4 aspects. There's a competition tier, there's a data sets tier, there's a notebooks and discussions, and you get points for all 4 of them independently, and you could become grandmaster of each of this tier or a single one. So Kaggle, essentially, when you join Kaggle, you are a novice. So novice is you just made an account on Kaggle and you're a novice there. If you do some bunch of very simple stuff there, like for instance, you fill in your credentials, you fill in your address, you fill in your company, and you just run one notebook and you sort of participate in one competition, you can become a contributor. Why is it important to become a contributor? It's because then your votes count. If you are a novice and you vote for somebody, this will not be counted. So it's always good to make your votes count, like if your votes should matter if you're voting, if you like somebody's work and you're voting, it should be counted. So for that contribution, becoming a contributor is important. And then from next level is an expert, a master, and finally a grandmaster. So this is, I think, for the competition tier, there are 145 grandmasters. This is not the latest one, actually. So I'll walk you through the actual Kaggle platform, but just trying to tell you what Kaggle has apart from competition. So yes, Kaggle has competitions. Kaggle has data sets. So if you want to work on good data sets, or you have some good data sets and you want to post those data sets for others, and you want the others to work on those data sets, you can do that. It has notebooks, or the that tier where you could write your code just like you do in your Jupyter notebooks, and your code stays there. Maybe you could work on some different data sets. Maybe you could create notebooks for existing competitions. You have forums where you could ask your problems, or you could discuss. You could give feedback to Kaggle team. You could discuss amongst yourselves. And finally, Kaggle Learn. So Kaggle Learn is a learning platform. It's a free of cost learning platform where there are a lot of micro courses, small courses, which are like very, very good. I think a lot of people are not aware of those courses on Kaggle, and you can instantly work on them. And they're very short. So they don't just beat about the bush, but they directly tell you about the concept, and you can practice them on the platform itself. You get points for competing. You get medals for this. You get medals for even posting data sets. So if you post data sets and people like those data sets, you get votes. You have a good notebook, people will give you votes. You start your discussion, you post a comment, you can get a vote in that also. And hence you can become grandmaster in either of these categories or in all of the categories. So that's a great thing. So you even get votes for posting a good comment. So like now I'll just take you through the platform. So this is Kaggle, and it looks like, for the ones who are not aware of it, this is how it looks like. And this is just your news feed. It's just like your LinkedIn feed where you get what people are doing here. And so this is the competitions tier. So this actually shows you about your competitions, which are the current competitions which are taking place, in which you are participating, in which you're... Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, Parul, you're audible. Someone is having their...
Okay.
Can all of you please mute yourself? I think there's another user who's having their... Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So, so this will show which are the competitions that are available and where you could take part. Now, if you are... So I'll just first show you what kind of competitions are taking place, what good kind of competitions are there. So this is a competition on detection of melanoma in images. So you have a data set and you have some images here. And these are the images. And you have to create a machine learning model which identifies about whether this is a melanoma, which is a type of a cancer or not. So this is a computer vision problem. So when you go into competition, that will tell you about like what is the prize money, how many, what is the deadline for that, how many teams are participating, and what you have to do. So it will explicitly tell you what you have to predict. So this is a binary target. So you have to predict whether it is a melanoma or it is not, yes or no. So this is a binary classification problem. You are given data sets. They explain to you what each column means in the data set, and they give you all the citations and whatever is necessary. You could even download this data set and work for it if you don't want to actually participate in the competitions. So the first thing that you can do here, you could go to the notebook section, and you can see that people have already put some great notebooks. And this is so good. This is just like the open sourcing. So you can go here and you could just see most words, and you could see which are the ones. Like this is mine actually. So if you see here, this competition, this notebook, this is actually see, if you see, this is such a nice notebook. There's somebody who's actually given such a what great deal of explanations, and look, this person has done it like for free for everybody, and it explained everything, what is melanoma, how does work, and what sort of techniques he's using. And so you can even get the code. If you see, you're getting the code here, and you just have to make sure that sometimes though it doesn't happen always, but you just have to be very sure that the notebook which is getting the highest number of words is getting because it's good and not otherwise. I basically give it a starter notebook basically for people who are absolutely new. And okay, so here I explained like how you import the data set and what does data set contain, what is the evaluation metric, what does that mean, how you import data set, you read the data set. So it is just a starter notebook just to get started. And this is just seeing the distribution of various variables in it. Like for instance, the target column, you see it's highly unbalanced because the people who do not have melanoma are more than the ones who have. So this is an unbalanced going to be target variable. And you can just go through, there's so many of them, there's so many. If I'm going to just sort out through most words, you see there's some great ones here. Detection with PyTorch, with the attention, and you could even see people have also given all the latest technologies, techniques. Also people sometimes implement some latest papers also here. If there's a latest paper, and they'll implement it over here to see. So that way you not only get access to data sets, but also some great code. And you can always go to this discussion tab, and you can ask your questions here if you have any, and people do respond. And if they find your discussion good, they will also vote for you, like 24/16 this way. And finally, we have the leaderboard. So for all the people who are participating here, this is the current ranking. This is not the final ranking, but this is, this gets changed, and you can see how people are faring on this. The final ranking will only be seen once this competition is over. And these three, the ones in green, are in money because top 3 ones are going to get the prize money. The rest of them till here, till this thing, will get gold medal. The ones till here will get silver, and then so next ones who are in this bronze color will get a bronze medal. So this is the way how you approach a competition. But if it's your first time that you are actually looking at Kaggle, you should go to courses. And this is the micro courses that I was talking about. These are micro courses, and you have micro courses from Python till even reinforcement learning. And the best part is that you get to work on data sets which are in Kaggle. So you'll also get a hang of Kaggle. For instance, if you start this course, this will have lessons which are broken down into these small, you could say, chapters. And if you click on them, it's not the normal courses where people keep talking and first you listen to them. So this is going to be like work there. So they introduce you to the problem, and then you have to work on your own. So they will give you here, examine your data. And when you click on that, a fresh notebook opens, and you have to write the code yourself. So I've already written it actually.
Hey Parul, I think you've gone on mute maybe?
Oh,
Yep, you're audible now.
okay. So what did you guys miss?
You were on this page and then we kind of lost you there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the courses. So these are the micro courses on Kaggle, and they're great, I think, ways to get started with Kaggle and get a hang of actually how do you use the notebook part of it. For instance, this is the intro to machine learning part where this explains to you right from how models work to model validation to overfitting and underfitting, and then you have some exercises, and you again have intro lessons. So like I explained to you, uh, you could start from courses, and when you are into courses, you'll get access to this competition. So this is actually, I could say, the grandfather of all the competitions, of all machine learning competitions, is the famous Titanic competition. And this competition comes under the getting started category. So if you're starting absolutely new to machine learning and to Kaggle, you should start with this competition. And Kaggle explains to you everything. What the use of this competition is that you get an idea how do you submit your submissions to competitions, how do you create notebooks, how do you discuss with people. You do not get any points for this, but this just helps you to just get started. So this is the very famous Titanic machine learning competition. And there are other competitions which you could use if you're absolutely new. You could go to categories and you could go to getting started, and you will have bunch of getting started competitions like there's a house prizes. So this is a regression competition. There's a Titanic, which is a classification competition. There's a digit recognizer, which is for identifying the handwritten digits. Uh, and there are others also. If you want to start with NLP, you could start with this. Again, if you want to do some predictions, you could start with this. So these are your competitions for which you will not get any votes or medals, but it'll be a good practice actually to start with this. And then slowly you could start advancing. And if you don't want to, just open a competition and go to notebooks, check out the data set, check out some good kernels or notebooks here, and start writing your own. So if you have to start writing, for instance, you want to write for this, what you can do is you could start your new notebook here. And when you start your new notebook, you get this platform. You can create a notebook. And so this just sets sort of a virtual environment where you will have most of the libraries already installed. So you don't need to install libraries here. And not only this, you also get access to some of the accelerators. For instance, you get access to GPU and a TPU. That is like 30 hours a week. So you could even use this for free. You can also use this for free. It's something like Collab. So you have libraries installed, you get GPU support. So I think it's a very good way to actually start and working on some code. And you can just, start like this. So you have already some pre-built libraries, and it's a great environment that way. And once you're done, you can just save your version. Any option, you save it. And once you save it, you could share it with the people. So it's private, just make it public. And as soon as you make it public, go on LinkedIn, go everywhere and go share it and let your friends know that, you've written some good code. So if you're looking to actually start participating in any competitions, we are hosting a competition currently, which is live till 14th of July. So there is, it is called CTDS show. So there's actually a podcast called CTDS.show, where the person who's hosting it, Sayam, who also happens to be my colleague, he interviews the people of Kaggle community, the data science people, the researchers, and he's actually interviewed a lot of great people. If not checked it out, you should. I think it's a great show where you get to see a lot of people, and it's on YouTube. And you'll see here. So you see these are, so it's the latest episode where he's interviewed the Kaggle team itself, Rachel Thomas for FastAI. Andrew Muller is the person who is the maintainer of scikit-learn library. These are the data scientists. You could see, great people from GitHub, from so Ines is the person who's written Spacey. This is Dan, and so on. So what he did was, it is his anniversary, so he's just completing 1 year, and just to celebrate this, he's put out the entire data set on Kaggle for you to actually work with it, and you could just do whatever you want, explore the data, just come out with whatever insights you have, and for prizes. So there'll be a separate prize for males and females, and the winners are going to be called on his show, and they'll be interviewed, the top male and top female, and the rest of them would be getting. So there's a data scientist and a Kaggler, Abhishek, and Abhishek Thakur, who is a 4 times Kaggle Grand Master. So he's a Grand Master in all the categories. He's just written a book very recently, approaching almost any ML problem. He would be giving to seven of his books. Manning Publications will also be giving books, and there'll be cash prizes also. So I'm one of the judges, and there are 3 more judges. All of them are Kaggle Grandmasters in the notebooks category. So Andre is currently number 1. There's Martin Haynes and Shivam. So all of us are going to judge it. And it's a great way to actually get started. You could read about on the discussion page if you go to Chai Time Data Science Show. And people have actually written some kernels. And if you do not know how to get started, I have written a starter kernel here for the purpose of taking part in this competition. And I exactly show you how you can start. What you can do is you could just go and fork my kernel, just like you fork the GitHub repository. You could either start from there, or you could just take inspiration from it, from this or any other kernel, and you could create your own. So this is a very basic sort of a competition. And if you are absolutely new and you're thinking of getting started on competition, but you're not sure, I think this is just the right competition for you. So yes, I think I've spoken enough about Kaggle and taking part. Now I'm open to questions. And if I'm not able to answer it here, you could find me on social media, or you can contact me through Twitter. So thank you so much.
Thanks a ton, Parul. It was a really great session with you. A lot of new learnings, a lot of amazing thing we learned, So as and when we had any doubts coming up, you were addressing each and every one of them. So I think a lot of these doubts we had in our mind and how to get started and all of that stuff was pretty clear. So if any of you guys have any doubts, please do message it over here itself. And I think the next 5 minutes, we can have a discussion on any doubts that you guys have come across in the course of this particular presentation.
Or if somebody wants to ask me afterwards, they're also more than welcome to. So I'll be able to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if they want some time. So I just wanted to know, so since this is not a, I normally do meetups, so this is virtual meetups are happening because of COVID. But what is the ratio of people? Are there people on Kaggle? So, or they're absolutely new to Kaggle, or they're hearing for the first time? So what is the ratio of people who are attending this virtual meetup?
I guess you guys could probably comment it in the chat box, so it'll be easier for ma'am also to know.
Okay, nice. So it's just that also start, if you are also participating in competitions, just try and create notebooks. Just create notebooks. So notebooks is nothing, okay? So it's just similar to most of the people, what they do today is they create some code and they put it out on GitHub. So it's just the same way. The only difference is when you put it out on Kaggle, a lot of other people can see your code, and they might even give you some advice, and or if you've written some good stuff, you also get accolades. So that helps to actually foster that spirit of community and networking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess, Parul, that should be it. People are not really asking any doubts, so I think they will be contacting you personally. If not, if
Sure.
they message me, I will get it across to you as well. So we
Absolutely.
can do it that way as well. Thank you so much, Parul, for your time. This was a really wonderful session. I'm sure a lot of people had lots to take away. We will be uploading this on YouTube for all those who missed it as well. So thank you so much once again, Parul.
Thank you, Arshit, for having me. I also really enjoy interacting with people. And like I said, you could find me on LinkedIn or Twitter, and you're free to ask any questions that you have with respect to data science, Kaggle, or general data science. And again, before leaving, I'd just like to say two things. If you have female friends, colleagues, family members, just encourage them to apply for the meetups that we do, because no matter, we give opportunity to everybody because we want females to come out and speak. So just encourage your fellow classmates also, and try and see if you could participate in CTDS show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Parul. It was great having you.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being with us today. We will be bringing more sessions in the upcoming days. We have a couple of them planned out. So we really hope to see you guys there as well. Thank you and have a nice day.